It being 5:15, I call personnel and finance meeting to order. I'll stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second. Motion made by Mike, seconded by Tim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. For ordinance on license quotas, Nicole?
Thank you. What you have in front of you today is an ordinance allowing us to have Class B reserve licenses. At the last council meeting, we approved, or you approved, the 17th of 18 allowable Class B combination liquor licenses. So basically that's your bars and restaurants that are able to serve liquor and beer. And the state has a quota of the number of Class B licenses a municipality can have based on their population and how many of these bars and restaurants they had in the 90s. So that number can't really be changed. So last month at council, you approved the 17th of these 18 Class B. And then on the docket for this next council meeting is the 18th one. So that means if another bar or restaurant comes to town and wants to have a liquor license, they can't because we don't have any more liquor licenses. There is the option of a reserve Class B license. And that if you have had a population change of at least 500 people since that quota was set, you can have that reserve license. It does cost $10,000 for the person and a non-refundable to have that. And currently our municipal code was such that we were saying that we wouldn't issue those. So all this is doing is changing it so that we're saying, you know, as many as the state will give us, we will take. I don't know if you have any questions about that or the process or businesses that have applied for licenses. Last month, it was Zero's Cafe, which is in the old Bucky's. They want to do Bloody Mary bar and mimosas and things like that. And then this month is the Taqueria Luciano on North Water Street. They want to serve alcohol in addition to beer, or liquor in addition to beer. So.
Was there a reason we had limited the number, I wonder?
It's not us, it's the state.
Okay.
And at the time, we weren't able to get a reserve. So I guess I don't know why we would have said, because we didn't have any reserve at the time that this was created. And now we can get a reserve. So, I mean, I think that would be the only reason why I can't, there's nothing historically a reason why they didn't want that reserve license. It's not really a cost to you. It's just a cost to the potential bar or restaurant owner.
So are you allowed more than one reserve?
Yes, but you have to have at least 500 population, more in population to get a reserve. And we only, at this point with our population, would only be able to get one. And that's if we can get it, it's not a sure thing. So there's a process.
So what's it cost for a business to get a reserve or to get a license now?
Right now, $500. So it's $100 for the year for the beer, and it's $400 for the liquor. So,
And this is going to be how much did you say?
It'd be $10,000.
That's what I thought you
Yeah.
said. For someone to get a beer and liquor license reserve.
Right, for where they could serve it there, the class B. We still have available for the class A where they could, take it and take it home, or class B beer only. So they could serve beer, they just couldn't serve liquor.
Okay.
Is it unlimited for just the beer then, or is there a cap on that as well?
There's not a cap right now on that.
Nicole, it says here though, 5 beer licenses allowed for the city.
Well, there's,
In the ordinance. So we might have to look into that one.
yeah, to amend that. Because there's not a cap on that.
That's why I was wondering why we had that cap. That was the question I asked, was there a reason that we had a cap on it? A 5, because it's unlimited.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was more my question.
So basically, you're just asking us to amend our ordinance so that we're going along with the state. It's not just 18 for us, it's whatever the state will allow us.
right. And I mean, basically Attorney Steckbauer looked at this. He actually struck that 18 licenses. Even if we strike it, we are capped at 18, like unless the law changes. But he was just saying, then we're not making the rule ourselves that capping it. We're just saying whatever the state will allow, we will allow.
Now, you said we've got 2 people applying for a license?
So, yep, so there's 18, we have 18 licenses, and at the last meeting the last council meeting, we approved the council approved Zeros Cafe and Catering, so that's 17 of the 18. And then they're on the March agenda is the 18th one for that Taqueria Luciano.
Okay, so we will have enough for both of those places.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. And we kind of can't say, oh, we want a bigger business, or, we have to kind of accept them on a as they apply basis. Now, I don't issue a license to somebody who just has an idea for a business or doesn't own the building, or, say they're going to remodel, but they never do it or something like that. If once you if you approve that in March, then that'll be the cap. Like right now, Easy Street does not have a license because of the building condition. So then he couldn't get a license because now we'd be at our cap.
Until someone else
$10,000.
gives them.
Unless they paid $10,000. And we would have to go through that process with the state, which we haven't done yet. This was just kind of the first step in going through that process.
Would this have any effect on that liquor bottling one next to the waters?
No, because they're not,
Not gonna sell?
he has not applied for a license. I mean, I'm under the impression that he's just a distributor and not a,
Correct. He's processing liquor there. He's got to get a separate license from the Fed to do that. But he's not consuming on premise, which would be the Class B, and he's not selling to take away, which is the Class A. We asked him about that when we had a meet and greet with him. And he can't do either on his premises based on his license. He can't sell or consume on premise. So he doesn't fall in this Class A, Class B realm.
Hypothetically, so every year you vote to approve this license in March every year? Is it like a
Something like
yearly
that.
thing?
yep, it's a July 1st to June 30th. So at the June council meeting is when all of the renewals will come through.
If we had more than 18 apply, would we be able to go through? Or just the ones that had it last year, grandfathered in for the next year?
They get the first
First
choice.
choice,
Yep.
okay.
So you'll be full with 18. And if someone applies for this reserve license, pays the $10,000, we go through the process with the state, that would be number 19. And then those hypothetically 19 every year you would look at to review and approve them.
So it's a one-time $10,000 fee to get
I
another
think it was
one,
one time,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it's
Yeah.
one time and it's non-refundable.
Yep.
but then you'll have 19 going forward for.
Correct. But that reserve license belongs to that person, that business that bought it.
So if he goes out, then somebody else has to apply for a reserve license and pay 10,000.
Ooh,
I
that's a good question.
believe so. I have to double check on that, but
That's a good
I
question.
think that is the case because I was reading some articles about the city of Eau Claire where they had a business go out of business. And I think then the next one had to pay the 10,000, but I can look into that.
Yeah,
I've heard of businesses buying each other just for that license, so I think when somebody goes out of business, that's up on the auction block with the business, is what I heard.
I don't know how.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
works.
which is not like that license goes with, or it belongs to that business at that location. So they technically can't do that. I mean, people come in here all the time with that expectation, but that's actually not true. So you approve, that business owner at that location, even if they move, they have to apply again, which is the case with the taqueria. They had that grocery store, they moved, 4 buildings down, they had to get a different liquor license for that.
That was class A.
That one was class A though. Yep. But they're now applying for the combo class B for the taqueria. So,
We're just looking to of approval, the status, what the state allows. That's all we're. approving,
right. And it's just so we're not hamstringing
Yeah.
the city to not be able to, if some business comes along and wants to do it, that, that we have our ducks in a row, that we could go through that process. And I mean, knowing that we're near this limit, I'm getting the alcohol licensing out really early, and the deadline is like of utmost importance. And when we pass when you guys pass the new fee schedule, we have a late fee built in there. So, it's important that if they don't get their application in time, they're in jeopardy of losing their license. So.
I'd be willing to make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
second.
Okay, motion's been made by Tim, seconded by Mike. All those in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move on to discussion of city hall office hours. Chad?
So Tim Roberts requested to put this on the agenda just to have a follow-up for the hours that we have at City Hall. If you recall, in October of 2021, we had a discussion about adjusting the hours of the municipal building. I had some information here and I can bring that back up. We did survey, we obtained a survey, I believe this was from CIVMIC, that they surveyed municipalities and looked at what other municipalities were doing with office hours as a recruitment piece. You can kind of see here, the ones that are blue are pretty much normal hours, but then some municipalities have summer hours it's a reduced or changed schedule. Some of them are year round, so we had this piece of information at the time to look at it, but I believe the thought process was just to follow up to see, have there been any complaints? What does everybody think? To kind of talk about the city hall hours. Right now, municipal building is open Monday through Thursday for 9 hours, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So that's their 36 hours for staffing for the week. And then Friday, we're open for 4 hours to get to that 40. We're open 7:30 AM to 11:30 AM. I did poll staff a little bit to see if, okay, have there been complaints? What have you guys seen with this? Talked to Nicole and then Missy, especially during around the tax collection. Really no complaints. There was a couple comments of people coming in on Monday saying, oh, I didn't know that you guys were closed on Friday. Those are probably people that don't come or only come here for once a year and they don't really understand about the office hours. It is printed on the tax bill, but we did have some comments with that. But then I went back and talked to Ginger. I'm like, what are you guys hearing? Are you guys hearing any problems or anything like that? And she's like, not hearing any complaints, but she's actually seen an uptick in the back, not so much in the front window here, but in the back of the Parks and Rec, an uptick from that 7:30 to 8 AM time hour because parents are coming in to pay for Camp Hatton or programs for the week before they go to work. So she's like, it's a little popping from that first half hour and then it kind of falls off when people are going to work after that. So yeah, from there, I don't know, kind of go from.
So, yeah, I did bring it up to Chad. I had a gentleman that was coming to pick up some daddy-daughter dance tickets, and they were closed at 11:30 on Friday. And he was concerned, so I've also heard complaints with voting when you want to get your absentee ballots in or whatever. So voting is an issue. People are tax collection is also an issue. I think we originally thought about doing this for retention and recruitment because, we were trying to say, hey, we understand, we want to, attract people, but then we did just pass a very handsome wage increase. So I think that because of that, I think we can go back to what we were doing Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. I just think it's an inconvenience for the citizens of town, and I don't think we need that incentive anymore for the employees. So I guess that's why I brought it up. I thought maybe, it was something that when we originally voted on, we thought we'll do a test trial, see how it goes. And like I said, I have heard some complaints because of voting and tax collection. And so, I mean, maybe if we want to do a compromise, do a summer hours, the way we're doing it now, and winter hours, because there's no voting in the summer. There's no tax collection. Well, I guess there is in July tax. Well, that's at the county. You're right. So I guess I just wanted to open up for discussion and see if anyone else has heard any complaints from the citizens of New London.
I've heard some on the television where they're actually saying that working 4 10-hour days make people happier. They get more work out of the people. That's some study that somebody's doing right now, telling companies and businesses that if you go to the 4 10-hour days, if people are happier because they're off on days, whether that has anything to do with this, I don't know, but they are doing that study. So take it for what it's worth.
I think the
personally have-
expanded hours during the week through the Monday and Thursday is actually beneficial for people that work. Downside is we don't want to pay them. We don't want to pay 4 to 5 hours overtime every week. And I don't know about for the ones we did hire with these hours, I'd hate to switch them.
I've seen where they're talking going to 36 hours a week and it's working better. Have we had this long enough? Yes, you're gonna get complaints until people get used to it. How long have we actually had this? A full year?
Since October of 2021.
18 months, roughly.
So people should be starting to get used to it.
I don't know, the inconvenience to not being open for 4 hours on Friday afternoon. I think there's more people that have the convenience and be able to stop down here in the morning before they go to work. Or, if you work 7 to 3 in Appleton, you got a shot to get here before they close at 4 o'clock every single day.
You ain't
Let's
gonna
take
make
that extra
everybody
hour.
happy anyways.
Huh?
You ain't gonna make everybody happy anyway.
No, but I think the extra hour actually being open Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, that extra hour is way better than being just 8 to 4. Because 8 to 4, I would never be able to make it here. Ever. I'd have to send somebody.
It is a hindrance. It is a challenge. Is there any way we can compromise with, I mean, we have several office people. What if you swap every other week? One works, one, have a half day on Monday, work through Friday.
I think our staffing that we have is too light for that. You get one person on vacation or one person sick. We don't have enough staff in the office to accommodate that, especially in the back window. You get vacations going on, you got other things going on, trainings going on. We just don't have enough staff. If you want to start doing that all the time, I think that would be a challenge to accommodate that. And then have more than one person in the office at that time. And in the summer and the year-round hours, that was actually something that we talked about, and I looked it up in the minutes from October 2021. We talked about whether just to do this for the summer year-round. And I looked at the minutes, and the mayor made a comment at the time suggesting to do it year-round, so it's consistent year-round, instead of that switch back and forth, and people don't understand, well, now you're in the summer, now you're in the year-round hours. Not saying we can't do that, but that was one consideration at that time when we talked about doing it year-round. Just for consistency factor of it all.
I can tell you also that the taxpayers who probably are the most upset about tax collection time are coming in at the last day of the 7th hour to pay their taxes. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be able to do that, but those are the ones who are complaining. And we allow them to come in the next day we are open, and we honor the date from the last year. So we accommodate them, yes.
Could I say something about voting? So the in-person absentee voting prior to every election is the Tuesday, 2 weeks prior to the election. So it goes from, it goes Tuesday to Friday and then Monday to Friday of the following week. And that's set by the state or whatever. It's perfectly fine, that first Friday, if they came in and voted, that would be perfectly fine. I mean, I could even run during, if there's 4 elections, I could even be open at that time. That wouldn't be a problem for me. That Friday before the election, if they're voting then, it is a problem, because then I can't print poll books until all those absentees are in. I can't program the Badger books until all those absentees are in. So, elongating that period it puts a lot more on the back end. So not having people be able to vote that Friday afternoon before the election is actually super helpful for the administration of the election. And they do have 9 days of in-person voting that they can come in and vote. So, having it be like that late in the game is tricky.
So I was one of those people that came in that last Friday to vote, because I wasn't going to be here on Tuesday. And that Friday was my only day off during that 2-week period to come in and vote. And I even said something to you. I got here at the last minute. It felt like, to get in here to vote, because I almost forgot that I had to get here in time. And if I hadn't come in at the 11th and a half hour, I wouldn't have been able to vote in this last election, because I just simply didn't get here in time, and still have to get my absentee ballot stuff going on. But I mean, that's on me too. I look at it that way. That's on me too. I know that I can easily get a ballot sent to my house.
Yeah, I would definitely take one for the team, if for those 2 Fridays prior to the potential 4 elections, I would be willing to be open at that time, because that's what the townships do. They set their hours, and if that was important, I would definitely do that. I don't.
Purpose.
Yeah, I don't feel like the entire office staff needs to work every Friday for those 8 Fridays prior to an election, you know, because I'd probably be here anyway. So,
And I mean, I'm one of those people that I appreciate the early hours. Because I need to be able to get places too, and that gives me a little bit of time in the mornings to get to those early hours. I have a very difficult time. Anybody who runs their normal, 8 to 4 hours, I have a tough time. I can't get there unless it's my day off. And I only get 3 of those during the month that fall during the week. So I appreciate the early hours. And I guess if I were to say, the fact that there's still 40 hours being worked by the staff, it would be great if we could do a rotation somehow and keep it open all day. But if we can't, my preference would be to stick with these hours.
I would also accommodate during tax collection that I'm guessing the last Friday of December and or January is when most people are looking to be accommodated in the afternoon. I would look at a flexible schedule during those weeks, of which I know are those weeks in which those complaints would come.
I'm sorry, if you guys are willing to do that, that's great, and I appreciate it, but then you got plenty of time to get here, get your stuff done. It's gotta fall on the person at some point. You have 9 days before election to come in here, plenty of time. Tax season, yeah, I know, they're mad, they want it until the very last day, but you know what, you gotta pay it no matter what, so if you pay it on Thursday instead of Friday, it is what it is. I appreciate the
think
fact
it's
you guys
too much.
want to do it, but I can't see how we get that out to the people that, okay, this day we're gonna be here till 4, you know what I mean? I mean, you have your set hours. That's your hours.
I just think it's not too much to ask to be open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, but obviously we're getting nowhere, so I move that we continue on with the agenda.
All right, moving on to the finance director's monthly report.
All right, so we have our information in front of us of the packets for the month of January. So there isn't a whole lot going on right now within our first month. But I'll go through things that appear different than you would expect based on being in January. Percentage of 8.33%. So if you look at the month of January, you would anticipate most of these to be at about 8.33%. But our insurance is paid at the beginning of the year. And then workers' comp is paid quarterly. So the lion's share of our insurance is paid in January, and that's why that budget is so much higher than others. Also, our ambulance here is paid quarterly, so that's why it's at 25%. Social services, we pay for our weights and measures. As you can see, this is not a very large budget. Our weights and measures is actually 84.61 right here, which pushes that higher. So again, paid yearly versus monthly. We started replacing some equipment that had come in from last year, more likely than not. And then community development would be dues that we pay. We pay a lot of dues in January that are for the entire year. And then we must have had a debt service payment in January. So otherwise, I don't see anything at this time out of the ordinary within our expenditures. Did anyone have any questions on any of those? If not, I will move on to the revenue reports. Do we have the little tabby things on the bottom? No? No.
Here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So like I talk about in my intro here in my letter, revenues are really collected at specific times throughout the year. So a property tax is accounted for. So next month you'll see some of our property tax in our first line item here. As we do a settlement in February, our final collection is in August. Tax equivalents are collected at the very end of the year in December. Our shared revenue, most of that is collected in November. We get a portion of that, about 300,000 in July. Our library aids and our police department are in semi-annually, and then our highway aids are quarterly. Some are done at the end of the year. I move health insurance reimbursements, those dollars the employees pay towards health insurance get moved over to the revenue side also in December. So again, I don't see anything out of the ordinary in January. If anyone has any questions on any of these. Otherwise, I will move on to assigned and unassigned fund balance. What I did here is I estimated based on our current revenues and expenditures for 2023, what I would anticipate the year-end balance of each of these items would be. You can see a list of many projects that still need to be done because we are still dealing with a lot of supply issues when it comes to vehicles and shingles and all kinds of things. So hopefully we can get some of those knocked down this year. Cable TV, the reason I have the revenue minus the expenditure, but we do know we have a second payment for the computers and things that are going into this room. So we'll probably actually see a little bit more come out of there. I just don't know what that dollar amount is right now. I don't everything else is just estimates at this time. If anyone doesn't have a particular question on those, the addition here, flock cameras, that was all donated funds to our police department. So those I assigned for that particular purpose. But otherwise, there wasn't a lot of changes, some small changes in balances. And then we would anticipate at the end of this year, I have a couple too many twos in there, the fund balance to be unassigned at 3.1. Again, our policy is 25% of expenditure, so that's almost 2 million, and our shared revenue is 2.1 million. So that again is very healthy, anticipated to be very healthy at the end of 2023. Any questions on any of those? Otherwise, we will move on to, did I miss wheel tax or did it just get missed? Oh, here it is.
I think it was in a
Sorry
different
about that.
order.
I went over the top of it. But there's really not much to talk about because we don't collect any money, any revenue in wheel tax until February. So this is through January. That's always a month behind. So there isn't any detail in the wheel tax analysis this month. And then we really haven't decided where we were going to use the dollars. Currently, I have it sitting within this projects right here, wheel tax. No specific amount yet because it hasn't been determined exactly where those dollars will be used this year. Not saying we're not going to use them because we will, but we zeroed that out with the Avon Lions in Lima project last year back here. So again, there was no dollars to move forward into 23. So it's just what will be collected this year. And then I added that to the list. So you can see the nice list of projects in case anyone asks you of the projects that were done. With the All right. And then I went through this and then our projects list. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. I did talk about this last month. Our Avon Lions in Lima came in less than we anticipated, so I was able to drop those ARPA funded ARPA funds down to this year. All those funds will be used to work on our downtown streets, St. John's, Lincoln State, and the parking lot, and Lucas Court, the Eastridge. I have learned a lot since I put this out, okay? I met with Robert today, and Robert and I went through all of these projects. I do have it here somewhere. And I will supply you with a new updated list for next year, but I can tell you that he will be coming to you with the bid tabs for all of these projects. And what we have estimated within our schedule here. And adding in actually a sidewalk, an ADA sidewalk for Hatton Park that needs to be completed. And then Lucas Court, as you can see, I have no estimate yet. It came in at 109,000. So even with those two additions, what I anticipated spending in this project list and what we will be spending is about $200,000 less. So hopefully we can keep moving forward in these kinds of savings, because you can see that our bonding continues to go down. So we had this over 5 million at one time. So I would anticipate dropping that number $200,000. Next month, I will update that again. But I know Robert's coming forward in Department of Public Works to talk about that. So I let him know that I will let you know that those projects have come within our estimated budget. So you are aware of that. In fact, under budget by about $200,000.
What does the changing of SD Swiderski's project on the river there, what does that do to these numbers? Like,
As
change
you-
a project, it costs more to build it, I'm assuming.
Correct.
So that gives us more money in the TID, correct?
It does.
A lot or little or?
About $1 million, I think we were at.
Well, it was,
Yeah.
you just got the schedule today.
Oh, yeah.
That $180,000 is up for player equipment? Is that for the new tanker?
Mhm.
That's way, way wrong.
The chief has talked to me about it.
What was the other project? Don't quote me, the old, when they had 8 buildings, wasn't that like 7 million or 9 million?
There's something like that. And then I
Something.
thought this one was significantly more.
Yes, so this one, the construction is gonna be 17 million. Now that's soft cost too, so engineering and everything for their construction. The assessed value, Adam is anticipating, we're talking anywhere between 11 and 12 million for the assessed value. I think the other assessed value was, remember, 6 million or something, half of it.
Yep.
So the
almost
assessed
double.
value is quite a bit more, to your point, which is gonna bring more increment. So we're gonna do the utility relocate. We just had the bid opening for that this last week. That came in favorable. There's a grant that being negotiated with SC Swiderski for site fill. That's gonna be the same number. Right now, it's the same number as we were gonna do with the last project with them. So the remaining increment can be used for other improvements in the TID. So it's not really in here, but maybe street lighting or other things. We've talked about, and I've asked Ginger to go get a price on this, the docks, those piers that we have, those 3 piers that we have along the river. With the new building there, it might be a lot more difficult for storage of those piers in the winter. Just because of the new building there. So Ginger was gonna look at getting a cost to see what it would be for a permanent piers instead of having to go in there and change, pull them out, put them back in every year and stuff like that. So that maybe could be financed by the TID district as well.
So what we're looking at is, I wouldn't expect, I'm not sure at this point. It's really difficult to estimate at this point until we get all of that infrastructure on the tax roll. Once I get a really solid number about what that revenue is going to look like in that revenue stream, then I'll start plugging in, what are we gonna pay for with this? And because you can see I have TID 5 pending up there. because at this point, I would really like to, we're gonna get First Date Bank coming into that TID district, so I'll know that first. And then we'll get that project coming in. And then we're gonna start looking at what are we paying for in the roadside with TID and what else are we gonna pay for with TID? So we got a lot of things, a lot of moving parts within that TID district. So for now, I'm just leaving it pending. Because I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, would like to look at leaving those dollars available for other things besides this right now, other things going on downtown, incentive dollars. And we would like to look at that to be able to build the downtown versus the road right now, because we also have that beautiful 80-20 grant sitting there that is funding a lot of that down road. So that's just the thought process at this time. And that's why Chad talked about us looking at those docks and seeing what we could do with that. So then we definitely use TID dollars for that. And then the parking lot also, we'll definitely be plugging some dollars in for that because we talked about using TID dollars for that. But that parking lot came in at $353. So there was a lot of savings within the actual bid tabs that you guys will be seeing at the Department of Public Works next month, or next week. Sorry about that. So I just don't feel confident enough to be putting together those numbers yet. I want some time to be able to see those things come through. And then we'll move forward of where we're gonna use those dollars. And then there's a lot of things still in the works on the expenditure side of what's going to be done.
To get onto those docks a little bit, Ginger should be able to get that information if they want to put them in like the Wolf River, like the Shockton group did. Because they got all those numbers. We got the number from the ones that was put in out there. So that should be a real easy number for her to get.
Correct. It'd be a lot easier to have those as a permanent thing instead of having to dig
All the
around
time.
with in and out, and getting a crane in
They're
there.
not underwater neither.
So
That's one number that she should be able to get relatively easy.
I know at one time we talked about that other parking lot downtown. Remember that study we had done to make that a through parking lot for that back alley?
Between the bakery and the
Oh,
grocery store.
St. John's Park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
St. John's Park.
Is that,
That could be used by TID as well. If the council feels that that's, the project that they want to put that money at.
That's part of why I don't want to say this is for this. Because there's so many things still developing in that downtown.
I just want to make sure that was still on the radar or thought.
Well,
So Judy, as long as when you're gonna update the numbers for next month, I would talk to, because at the last time I was looking at that 180,000 for fire equipment, and I kind of looked at it, and I got friends in Clintonville that work with the stuff, but you couldn't even buy a chassis with 4 tires for 180,000. So
I'll talk to the chief.
yeah, something's off.
He's
with
gonna come
that.
talk to you.
Okay.
We've been pricing them.
Cause I thought, boy, 180,000, that's an average pickup truck by today's standards.
It ain't that high yet, but it's getting there.
Not a dump truck, for sure.
Yeah, we went and priced them already.
That's all right.
He's getting quotes on them. so.
I'll get his update also, so, and I will add that into next month's. Any other questions? I did add some things to the bottom. We had, I try to keep, and maybe I should add that parking lot to this list, actually. Just some thought processes on the bottom. As you can see, what I did is I said, okay, we were thinking about these things and then I starred them if we added them. And then 1 year. So other things that we are just thinking about as we're going through this process.
Can I ask what the Shanna Street Bridge construction project is? What is that about?
Isn't that, I just throwing this out there. Isn't that the bridge, the only bridge in London owns, but it's not
Right.
on Channel Street?
That's the one.
North Water Street.
It's
North
the
Water
other street.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
yeah. We don't
Oh,
own.
We have a little bridge we own.
That's on me. Yeah. that's-
Okay, I was like, what's going on there? Okay, thank
Because
you.
that's gonna throw all these numbers off, because that's gonna be really expensive.
And that's not our bridge, actually. It's the county's.
Okay, because I'm like, what are we doing with the Shadow Street Bridge?
We're gonna sell it.
I'll change that.
Okay,
Tear it out of there. Somebody got one bridge across town.
I got a bridge to sell.
yeah. Okay,
Sorry about that.
All right, move on to finance director's report.
All right, I made a list of a few of the items that I took, that was taken care of, I guess, within our office. Like I said, we do a settlement both in January 15th and February 15th. So I took care of that information with all the jurisdictions. We had 1099s, W-2s, year-end adjustments for estimates when I presented the 2022 year end to you guys. Our wellness committee met. I prepared the statement of taxes and distributed them. It was just, January is just a really busy month. We have tax collection, and then I said, thanks for everyone, because it is a team effort. Definitely when it comes to our office, because we are, like Chad said, we are light staff. There's not a lot of us. So we try to get everyone involved so we can simplify the process as much as we can. We had the retirement report go out. The 23 budget was entered. So the department heads are looking at that to make sure that got entered properly. I attended some civic board meetings. And then I continue to, my biggest job now is to continue my way through the audit prep work. I have about, 47, 50 items, and I have to tie out each account number. So when they come in the door that they have the information, and that again is a team effort. Missy takes care of a lot of things for me in April, and Nicole even has her hand in some of the items, and Jill. So this year they put together a new process also where we grab our information and throw it in their online system, and then everything's numbered. So it's a new process for us this year, but actually we're enjoying it because it's very easy and user friendly. So making our way through that, and that takes a lot of time. And they will be here on the 28th or 9th, whatever that Tuesday is. And that's always nice when we get through that, to be honest with you. Just being honest. And that's the end of that. Oh, and then I know what else, I guess, in questions and answers. I did want to let you know that I have not heard from the first responders. I'm guessing it's because this meeting was so close to the last meeting. So I would anticipate a discussion on that at the next finance meeting, and just, that one is.
Did you receive their printout of the paper?
Mm-mm.
Because Jeff texted me one day last week and said he sent it.
Who did he send it to?
I can find out,
Okay,
or I'll just tell him to make another copy and drop it off here.
that's
'Cause he-
probably better,
He called me tonight and asked me if it was on the agenda, and I told him no.
because I have not heard from anyone. Nobody has given me a call. I thought they were gonna call me, and then we were gonna sit down and talk about, what everything looks like for presentation.
Okay.
So
I'll get over.
probably best if they give me a call, and then we can talk through it.
All right.
Or if he's gonna come in and drop it off, just to make sure I'm in the office, so then we can visit about it while he's here. That'd
Okay.
probably be easier. So I just want you to know, we haven't forgot about them. I would anticipate them to be on the next agenda.
Any other questions?
Rudy, obviously you've been following the discussions on the potential state budget. Are you optimistic or pessimistic at this time, or just learn to be patient on forming that opinion?
Exactly. Been in this job long enough to know that things can change I'm feeling pretty optimistic. I guess we had two representatives here, and I feel like they understood and they listened to the concerns.
So I'm feeling like hopefully there'll be some change within our next budget cycle.
Did you ever get anything
that's-
feedback from when we were over there at Schwabenon? From how their feelings were on it?
I think that was early in the process. And I think,
Too early, huh?
I think the opinions have changed over time.
Since the new budget's come out?
Oh, yeah. I mean, even at that time, you guys were all there. I mean, it was kind of like, oh, we don't know, but there's a lot more talk, I think, now than there ever has been in the past about, changing the funding models.
Definitely. Yeah, I can say,
There was-
yeah, I
there
can
was quite a
definitely say
few
that.
guys- I mean, there was a lot of representatives there. There was what, five or six that were at that meeting.
Yep. But I think those meetings helped paint the picture and send the message to them 100%.
All right, so absolutely, we have a few more things going for us, I think, this year, more than any year, and that one is communication. I feel like that has been a positive move forward with the city and the number of times we've talked to our representatives about state shared revenue. And then number two is they have a surplus, and that's the first time for a while too. So we have those two things going for us at this time. So, and they're willing to listen. They came in and, and listened to what we had to say. So, and it was really nice to have everyone represented, including the school district and the chamber.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Made by Tim, second by Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?